Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashy Business Show. Today is Thursday, July 10, 2025 and I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Warid Ahmed and we've got a packed show for you today. Firstly, we're going to be discussing how Saudi's Jahez has acquired 76% of Qatari Snoonu from founder Hamad Al-Hajri in a $245 million deal. Secondly, Egypt's Naguib Sawiris is to invest $100 million in Morocco's electric motorbike market. And Backlash is growing as VC Sequoia Capital Shaun Maguire reignites controversy days after his apology. And finally, Kuwait's $1 trillion wealth fund has sold its $3 billion stake in the Bank of America.
Very interesting stories, a lot of numbers and a lot of money involved today. But first of all, Saudi-listed food delivery firm Jahez has announced its acquisition of a 76.56% stake, very specific, in Qatari on-demand platform Snoonu in a deal valued at $245 million. The move marks Jahez's first official entry into Qatar.
Now, Jahez will purchase over 8.1 million shares, roughly 75% of Snoonu, from existing shareholders for $225 million using a mix of cash and company shares. Now, the further $20 million will secure an additional 1.56% stake. And
Snoonu's founder and CEO Hamad Al-Hajri, confused, but Hajri, I think, will retain 23.44% of the company. A serial entrepreneur, Al-Hajri also co-founded Oryxnet, Miraj Holding, Mushwar, Lilac Landscape, and Biryani Express Restaurant.
I bet you he's going to found another company and then sell it. Founded in 2019, Snoonu operates across food delivery, groceries, e-commerce, and logistics in Qatar. Now, the platform now holds an estimated valuation of $320 million and will continue operating under its own brand post-deal.
Founded in 2016 by Qasab Al-Mandil, Jahez currently commands 32% of Saudi Arabia's food delivery market. Its portfolio includes PIK for quick commerce, Blue for sportswear, and operations in Bahrain and Kuwait are also there.
And I think with this specific move, Majid, it's so strategic because if you take a look at Jahez, number one, they hold over 35% of the food delivery market in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And then they have their other brands, which are Jahez Kuwait, Jahez Bahrain, and then the other one that you mentioned, PIK. And I think with them walking into the Qatari market, they knew that, you know what? Instead of us coming up with a Jahez Qatar here, let's just buy Snoonu. It's already doing great. Yeah. And I think that this is pointing to the fact that they were extremely successful, that what Hajri did with the company is great. So they were like, you know what, let's just buy it and operate through this specific company. And I remember watching the interview with Richard and the founder of Snoonu in Web Summit Qatar. But Majid here actually watched it in real time.
He's a very interesting person. He's very well spoken. The most interesting thing that I found about him during the interview was that he knows everything about his startup. Usually, when you talk about startups, they're mostly about products. Founders know this services that, we do this, we do that. But he knew the numbers inside out. Rich was talking to him about, how much. And he wanted to build the first Qatari unicorn. That's what the idea behind Snoonu is. It's a good service. I tried it. It's not as quick as Noon. It's not as quick as the UAE market. Like you can get anything literally in 15 minutes, right? You have Kareem, you have all these players here who deliver very quickly. I'm talking about groceries, not food. So in the grocery sector, I tried them. I wanted to order hair gel. I think I forgot it when I was in Qatar. And I was like, okay, 45 minutes to deliver groceries. They still have room to grow. They still have room to become bigger and faster.
But Majid, did you meet the founder, by the way?
Yeah, we were there.
Was there anything that stood out to you about his personality?
His personality, he's a very nice, interesting guy. Again, he knew very well about the product. They had a whole stand there at Web Summit. It was one of the outstanding stands. You go and you see and you immediately recognize, this is something interesting. And obviously we had some chat before the interview also. Very interesting person. The main thing is, I think he wants Jahez all this the whole idea of this deal is not just that, oh, I've sold some part of my startup and I want to make money out of it. His idea is that a big company joining his company, eventually they can value Snoonu at 1 billion. So the whole concept is that they want to build the first Qatari unicorn in terms of e-commerce. So let's see, it's valued at 320 now.
But you know, for me, Majid, what's standing out to me specifically about Jahez, that big company, is that it's almost like the delivery hero of the Middle East. You know, they're the same way that Delivery Hero have gone out of their way to go and purchase InstaShop, to purchase Talabat. You know, they've gone out of their way to now ensure that any quick commerce startup that has been launched within our region, from our region, is owned by them. And honestly, that does make me very happy, because in the end of the day, it's a Saudi-born brand. So we're keeping things regional. We're keeping the revenue within the region. But just speaking further of the region, Egyptian billionaire Naguib Sawiris is backing a major electric mobility push in Morocco. So his company, Blue EV, plans to invest $100 million to convert fuel-powered motorcycles in electric vehicles.
And Blue EV, founded in 2023, recently, and chaired by Naguib Sawiris, is expanding beyond Egypt. As part of a wider MENA strategy. The company specializes in electric conversions and affordable two-wheel transportation.
So the move into Morocco follows a $120 million injection by Sawiris through Orescom Investment Holding. Now, CEO Rida Balbaki confirmed operations will begin by the end of 2025, starting in urban hubs.
And currently, Blue EV operates in cities like East Cairo, Alexandria, and El Gouna with 50 plus battery swapping stations. The company aims to cover all Egypt within 5 years and scale across MENA region.
So while Morocco exports EVs from major factories like Renault, Tangier, local adoption is slow due to high prices and few charging stations. Blue EV targets this gap, focusing on the widely used motorcycle sector. Now, I see exactly what he's doing there. I think that, you know, in terms of advancement in electrical vehicles, Africa, Morocco is definitely behind. And the fact that he has already wedged himself between that gap, Majid. He made sure to show up and take the chance while it is still there is I think what makes him the businessman, the famous businessman that he is.
Yeah, the important thing is he's investing everywhere else also. He's not putting all his eggs in one basket, and that's the sign of a very good businessman. To be honest, I'm very out of Egypt. The only people I know, the big businessmen, like if you talk about UAE, you talk about Saudi Arabia, you have so many big names, right? You can refer to. But when it comes to Egypt, we always refer to Naguib Sawiris, Nasif Sawiris. Nasif a little less because he's in Italy, in UK, he's not here a lot. But Naguib is here. I think like 2 or 3 days ago, a random reel appeared on my feed. Their third brother, forgot his name completely, and he was talking, and I was like, we need to cover him more also, because he is also there. I think he is the eldest one, or Nasif is the eldest one.
Nasif is the eldest.
Nasif is the eldest
Naguib
one.
is actually the eldest.
Oh, Naguib.
I believe
but
Nasif
they have
is the
their
youngest.
3 brothers. We need to focus more on the third brother, what he's doing, who he is. But I still believe they have a lot of monopoly in Egypt. We need to target on Smashy Business. We love to target newer people.
But I think African billionaires just in general, like for me, Majid, their stories are particularly inspiring, because when you take a look at a region like Africa, which in fact does not have a population that is that big, has resources that...
Africa has a big population.
I mean, in terms of when you compare it to other countries, if you take a look at the population, the resources that they have, there is no reason for Africans to be poor. There's no reason. So if you take a look at that region, when you see billionaires like Naguib Sawiris who are coming in, it really makes you think of how you can get successful quickly. Like, for example, remember that Sudanese billionaire that I was telling you about, Mo Ibrahim? So Mohammed Ibrahim, he's a British citizen. He's a Sudanese billionaire. Majid, you know what he did? Basically, he founded this company called Celtel. And this company basically targeted mobile operations across the sub-Saharan Africa at a time where these mobile operations, these satellites, they didn't exist. So he developed them across the sub-Saharan Africa, and guess who he sold it to? He sold it to MTC. Now,
Nice.
Kuwaiti Zain. So I think when you take a look at men like Mo Ibrahim, Naguib Sawiris, the reason why they're so successful is because they enter the market first. Plain and simple. If you enter first, you already have a head start.
They have the capital to enter the market first. That's also, you should give them like,
That is
they
true.
have an advantage over others, that they have the capital to enter whatever market they want. And what you're talking about is usually in North Africa, like the MENA region. But if you go to Africa, we don't cover Africa a lot, like South Africa, Nigeria. We don't cover them a lot. We usually focus on MENA region because Egypt is a part of that, Morocco is a part of that. But you go to Africa, Africa is like 1/3 of the population. Africa has so much potential right now.
I think it always did.
Yeah, in one of the movies I was recently watching, there's a monologue by a girl, and since it's a recent movie, it was like a 2023-2024 production, and she gives the whole monologue, and I completely forgot the movie. I've seen so many in the past few days. Yesterday I was also having a discussion with Sami, and I was like, I don't know how many movies I've watched over the last 2-3 days. But the monologue was mainly, I don't know, I haven't verified those numbers, but it's very interesting. She says the largest 10 populations in the world in terms of age, young age, 25 to 35 or 24 to 35, is in Africa now. So Africa in this decade, these 10 years, will have the youngest population, top 10 youngest populations in the world. They have the resources to buy consumer packaged products, like the cakes, cupcakes, small stuff. And she's like, they are going to take over the world in terms of consumer packaged goods, in terms of consumption of that. So there is such a big market for only like, if you have a nice cupcake idea, packaged cupcakes, which you can sell on supermarkets, Africa is the market to go. There's so much potential there because they are coming out of that image that we've created for Africa, that, oh, they don't have the money, they don't have water, there's always drought. They are coming out, and soon we'll see. And I think it is kind of a ripple effect of the Middle Eastern economy becoming stronger, because we are investing so much in Africa. So it's a win-win for us, because if we invest in them and they grow stronger, their economy grows stronger, their industries grow stronger, we also benefit. The UAE has invested, Saudi has invested, every big country here in the Middle East has invested in Africa, the pure African countries. So imagine, it's kind of like a win-win situation. A lot of people have this criticism that we, the countries here in the Middle East, are only going Africa to like exploit them or anything. But you look at the situation, over the last 50-60 years, Africa has been, I wouldn't use the word rule by the West, but somehow the West had a chokehold on them, Africa. And now, since Middle East has started going there, I think I remember we talked about it also, that any conference that happens in UAE, Saudi, you always see now a panel at least about Africa. Wait, so are you saying
that the Middle East is a part of the development of Africa?
Yeah, because I told you, UAE earmarked $44 billion in terms of investment in sustainability, in infrastructure projects. That was like 2023, so it was a 4-year plan. Saudi Arabia, recently we talked about it. There was a story on a lot of publications, I don't remember all of them, but there was a story that Saudi Arabia has earmarked nearly $50-ish billion that they're going to invest. Egypt is part of Africa.
But at the same time, do you know what's also going on right now, Majid? So basically, when the Paris Agreement was signed a while ago, a part of that agreement, what basically happened is this idea of carbon credits was developed. And basically what carbon credits are is a country, say a country wants to, I don't know, sell liquid gas. If they want to sell liquid gas, they have to have another action that they've done that involves money that is actually good for the environment. So like, say for example, I don't know, I bought land in a beautiful forest in Africa. By doing so and developing that land, what am I doing? I'm offsetting emissions, and what am I also receiving? I'm receiving carbon credit. And that carbon credit that a country has, that means that you can go and do that other action that is not so good for the environment, like for example, selling liquid gas, or you can actually also take that carbon credit and you can give it to another country, or you can sell it to them. So I think that with the
I think it's a -1 +1 situation. You take -1 1 plus 1, it becomes 0.
I remember it was an economic concept that I brought up, but I just completely forgot its name. But I think this is particularly why we are seeing so many other countries that are investing in Africa, because, by the way, Majid, the emissions in Africa, they are not so bad comparatively to other countries.
Because they don't have an industry, no? So they don't have an industry, they don't have emissions. Obviously, they're going to be better than US right now, China, all the other countries who have like higher emissions. Europe, for example, they have as a continent or as a sum of all the countries, they have the highest emissions in the world, and they're charging other people, putting up 5% tax. Remember the Qatar story?
Yeah.
So all these things are happening, but to be honest, if I was to like for sure bet my money, if I was a businessman and I wanted to explore a market, I would definitely go. Obviously, Middle East is the hub right now, but if I wanted to go somewhere next, Africa is the next 100% confirmed best place where you're whatever you invest, you will get some return, because it's being talked about everywhere. Bloomberg has a special 1-hour section on their prime time about Africa. Imagine if they are focusing on it, if every big publication, every big event is talking about Africa, the investment that should go in, is going in, can go in, and then the returns, obviously it's going to be one of the best next frontiers. And talking about the good things about Africa, let's come back to a serious story which has happened over the last 2-3 days. So just after, like 2-3 days after issuing a public apology for a racist social media post targeting New York Assembly member Zohran Mamdani, Silicon Valley investor Shaun Maguire is once again under fire. This time for comments directed at Mamdani's intern.
So essentially what happened is Maguire reposted a video of the intern speaking about her arrest and suspension, where she framed her activism as a part of, this is a part of ibadah. Now, Maguire responded calling her a radical Islamist and claimed these are not normal, moderate Muslim views.
But if you're getting arrested for saying something right, I think every religion says that you should call out what is right in front of public, in private even. So yeah, the remarks have reignited criticism, especially given that Maguire had recently apologized for an earlier tweet in which he claimed Mamdani comes from a culture that lies about everything. That post drew more than 5 million views and led to a wave of outrage.
So it was Fadi Gandour, the founder of Aramix and executive chairman of WAMDA Capital, which led the open letter against Maguire's rhetoric. Now, the petition has now gained over 1,000 signatures and the support of over 900 startups, including Kareem, Tabi, Tamara, Bayzat, and even Sequoia-backed Lean Technologies.
And Gandour was doing a video interview with The National yesterday, and he said, if Sequoia wants to invest in this region, he's talking about the Middle Eastern region, Gulf region, Arab region, it must make it clear that it does not tolerate this behavior, this Islamophobic behavior. The controversy highlights growing tensions between Silicon Valley voices and the MENA startups ecosystem.
But you know, Majid, like the kind of hypocrisy that we're seeing here, it is so jarring because he's targeting this intern. She's actually an ex-intern that used to work for Mamdani's office. And basically, the best way that I can put it for you as a Muslim myself, what she was saying in the video to people who are getting arrested, suspended in New York, I believe, is that, you know, guys, like in the end of the day, if you're a Muslim like me, just know that this is a part of ibadah, because, you know, the way that I learned religion is that in life, who God loves the most, he always throws difficulties and challenges at them, and that it, you know, enduring those challenges and those difficulties, they're so beautiful because of the fact that as Muslims we are promised akhirah, we are promised a heaven if we do good by people in this dunya. So here in real time, and what she was basically saying is like, you know, don't feel too bad, because in the end of the day, God sees what you're doing, and that even if basically you're not happy, you know, here, your hereafter will be extremely happy, because you will get heaven, you'll get akhirah.
Because you stood for the right thing.
Exactly, that's what she was saying, and he called it Islamist. Like, I still don't even understand what that means, and for me, like the fact that he particularly picked out that point just proves to me the fact that he is just honestly targeting a religion at this point. I don't even think that it's him targeting ethnicities or people of different identities, because he could have taken out that video where basically the New York Post, they wrote an article about how this ex-intern, there was a video of her where she was calling the police in New York pigs because they're wearing badges and they're working for the police. And he could have picked that out, but he specifically took out the video where she was being extremely positive and speaking about how, like, don't worry about it, God is looking after all of you, and it's just that this is clearly targeted. It is clearly targeted.
Yeah. We did a post about him apologizing, and we got so many comments. I think there's like 70, 80 plus comments.
Really?
Won't read all of them, but the main idea was that everyone said it's a half apology, because if you say I'm sorry and then continue with a but, that means you're not apologizing, you're just trying to clarify your comments. The whole idea that I have taken from this story and what he's doing, and historically what I've read about him, how he is controversial, I think he's not going to back down. He is going to fight till the end. The problem is that all of this, he is attached to a company. I don't know what Sequoia Capital's social media policy is, because he's a partner. He's not a small man. He's not like an executive or a junior executive. They can't just be like, okay, we are firing you. He's a partner, and he's invested a lot of money, most probably brought a lot of deals as well. So Sequoia here is the main character that we should wait and see what they will do. If they don't take action, that clearly shows that one of the biggest VC funds in the world, not even America, not even the West, in the world, has or supports. It's like if you're ignoring it, if you're not saying anything, that means you support it. You don't have a problem with it. So they need to come up with something. They need to come up with a statement, and I think their PR team or marketing team will be sitting down and thinking about it, that how to handle this situation. But it's not the first time that Shaun Maguire has gone haywire. This is not the first time he's gone like crazy over tweets and everything. It's just what they're used to. But this time, I think the pressure coming from the Middle Eastern tech founders, a lot of them, that will put a lot of pressure, because right now, as we always talk about it, gravity is towards the Middle East. The capital, the center of the world is somehow becoming Middle East.
And you know who honestly learned their lesson, I feel like? Donald Trump. You know, Donald Trump was saying a bunch of crazy things right before he arrived in the Gulf of, okay, we need to sell Gaza. You know, this is an important piece of real estate. And then the second that he arrived here, Majid, and, you know, he received like what? $1.4 trillion from the UAE. He received $500 billion, you know, from Saudi Arabia, and an arms deal. All of these Boeing planes from Qatar. You know, the second he returned to the U.S., yes, we have to do something about Palestine.
Peace.
You know, we need peace, and we saw the speech that he was giving about humanity in Saudi Arabia, and he learned his lesson, because he was like, wow, like I'm being given trillions of dollars here. And you know, not just that, Magic, like Shaun Maguire is like, what, I think he's like he's in his 40s, he's in his late 40s. Like, why are you attacking an intern? I just think that's like not necessary. Like, that is somebody's child. Like, let the girl have a good career run. Like, because if you take a look at it, obviously he has devout followers who are probably also VC followers. Why would you block off her like chances like that? Like, leave the child alone. Let her be.
And it shows how petty you are, to be honest. That's the last thing I would say. It shows how petty you are, that to defend your point, which is completely wrong, has no religious backing, logical backing, rationale behind it, that, oh, I was talking to Islamists and non-Muslims. Again, bro, Muslims follow Islam. So I think you need to take a history lesson and a theology lesson. But importantly, attacking an intern to go back and fight Zoran Mamdani, and I'm thinking he lost all his bullets, he lost all his firepower because of this statement and because of the petition that has been going on now against him. He's realized he did something wrong, and he's just trying to do damage control, which is not at all working for him. It looks honestly, very weird from his side.
Honestly, it did give Zoran Mamdani more attention. Now, not only does New York, not only does America support him, but you have Arab founders all the way in the Middle East who are vouching for him. But just to end off the show, the Kuwait Investment Authority has offloaded a $3 billion stake in the Bank of America, which is actually the second largest bank in America, reportedly following a similar move by Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. Now, the sale was executed via an unregistered block trade.
And according to Bloomberg, shares were priced at $47.95 per share, marking the lower end of the range marketed by Goldman Sachs and offering a 1.5% discount to the prior day's closing price.
So the Qatar Investment Authority originally invested $2 billion in Merrill Lynch in January 2008 during the subprime mortgage crisis. So after Bank of America acquired Merrill later that year, Kuwait Investment Authority converted its preferred shares into common stock.
And the timing mirrors Berkshire Hathaway's move to cut its holding in the bank. Basically, they have a playbook that they're following, the Kuwait Investment Authority. And from 1.03 billion shares in 2024 to 632 million by March 2025. That's what Berkshire Hathaway did. They lowered their share in the Bank of America. So Buffett's firm has been trimming its stakes daily since last year in Bank of America.
Now,
I think they see something.
Yeah, now this is Kuwait Investment Authority's second major divestment in weeks. Now, this is following a $3.4 billion sale in Hong Kong-based group. So the sovereign fund, now valued at $1 trillion, by the way, also owns 5.2% of BlackRock and recently joined its $100 billion AI infrastructure partnership, which I believe we did discuss on the show. Well, now we know why Kuwait Investment Authority is the fifth largest sovereign wealth fund in the world. It's because of these very strategic investments that they're making.
And they're the oldest sovereign wealth fund in the Middle East. So very interesting that we're doing this. And I think they have a good playbook. If they're following Berkshire, obviously, who wouldn't want to follow what... obviously, he's retiring at the end of the year, Warren Buffett. But who wouldn't want to follow what he is doing? Everyone would, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, good to see that Kuwait. I think the only link that I can see with them selling stake and making money, like taking out their money, is either they're going into AI, which everyone is going, honestly, everyone wants to invest in AI because any new update that comes in terms of AI, ChatGPT, anything that comes, whatever you've made goes up 10-15%. But I think there is another problem with Kuwait. I recently saw a lot of reports that they were having some sort of power blackouts and all that. So I think they're trying to get some money, liquidify their assets, and somehow invest in the electricity infrastructure.
Oh, you mean the electricity is turning off?
There was literally blackouts like 2 or 3 months ago. They were short on gas or something. But now, obviously, they're back on their reserves. It's all good. But this was happening. So economically, it makes sense to like cash out, get a lot of money on your shares.
But they waited a while. I think they played the game.
The business game is always about temperament. A lot of people outside in our office, some of them I'm trying to convert to stock and crypto. But whatever they ask, I always say it's about temperament. You need to know when to pull out. You don't need to be greedy, one, and you don't need to be very scared. You just have to have a balanced approach.
And that's a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smashy Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all of our social media channels. And also make sure to stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You will find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashy Business Show, Smashy Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our 1.6 million monthly listeners. Thank you very much for increasing that 100,000 more. You make this possible. If you're one of them, we appreciate you really, really, really much. Thank you. Have a great day and see you on Friday.